once like all your identities add up together, like it sums up to like the person that you are. So I'm not just like Asian, I'm not just a woman, but like I'm an Asian woman who's also queer and Vietnamese and second generation, and that's like just like part of like what I am. I'm Sarah. I'm a third year at Pomona College. I'm a neuroscience major, maybe an ASAM minor, and I'm second generation Vietnamese American, and I identify as bisexual or pansexual. I got really involved with AMP my first year, and I felt like it was like the first time I was validated as an Asian American, because there's a lot of conflict between like my Asian culture and the American culture that I grew up with since I was born here. So like having an Asian American centered program really allowed me to embrace that like I'm both Asian and American, and that has led to like a unique blend of identities that I wouldn't have otherwise. The VSA here, the Vietnamese Student Association, has done a lot for me. Like it's helped me engage with being Vietnamese. Prior to that, I always thought of like being Vietnamese as just like talking to my parents and with like older people. But here was the first community I've had with like other Vietnamese people my age. The way you talk with like people who are your peers are different from the way you talk to like your parents and your elders. And like engaging with people who are like, going through the same problems and cultural conflicts that I'm going through was really meaningful to me. As an AMP mentor myself, I started to learn how like politicized like you have to be as a person of color in America. And I started learning about like the Asian American history behind like the push for ethnic studies, or like the same like Asian Americans were fighting for their civil rights alongside other communities of color. So it really inspired me to be a part of this legacy and history. So I started taking Asian American studies courses during my sophomore year while I was an AMP mentor, and I'm continuing to do that, and I think it's really valuable to see myself and narratives similar to myself like represented in academia. Since I've come to college, I've also found a queer Asian Pacific Islander community, which has been like really valuable to me, because before that, like the LGBTQIA+ community is very white-centric, and that comes with its own narratives. Being both queer and Asian, there's like a lot of stories and narratives I don't relate to. So it's nice to like find so many other queer Asian Americans who are willing to talk about things like your family not always being unconditionally supportive of you. Or even like coming out is such a white narrative. Like a lot of Asian American queers don't feel the need to come out, and it's nice to like just have other people who understand where I'm coming from. So I'm a neuroscience major because I'm really interested in body systems, and I am pre-med, so I hope to be a doctor. So like tying this all together, like one day I really hope to be a doctor who emphasizes cultural differences. And there's a difference between like cultural competency and like knowing people are different, and like actually like being culturally sensitive and like being on the same level as other people, and like treating them with specialized care because like you've been through the same things and you know what it's like to like feel singled out or left behind as an Asian American. One of the ways in which the Vietnamese narrative is so different from like a lot of Asian American narratives is that like with war you're like forced to leave, and like you start over with like nothing. So both my parents like grew up as like low income, like first generation immigrants who were just like learning to speak the language and trying to get situated in themselves. Their dreams are very like stable. And it makes me think a lot about like what my dreams are, because like my dream is not to like just be stable. Like I feel like because they've put in all this work to like give me a stable upbringing, it makes me want to be more ambitious and like start shaking things up. And like my parents played by the system to like get where they are, but like now I want to like break the system. Like there's so many inherent like inequalities and like the way that society is set up. And I feel like because my parents have done what they have done, like I'm in a position to like fight back a little and like push harder.